Guess what, you Foxborough fannies? The Bills are handing out lollipops and ass whoopings on Thursday night, and I'm sorry, but they're all out of fucking lollipops.
En fuego! On fire!
All right.
All right. All right.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the house that Alan built, episode 21. I'm Scott Kinmartin. With me, as always,
Greg Vollmer.
And today, we're going to talk about Week 13 matchup, the Buffalo Bills playing the New England Patriots in Foxborough.
Those chowder-eating motherfuckers.
Tell me how you really feel, Greg. The game is set for December 1st. That is a Amazon Prime special Thursday Night Football. We're going to get Fitzpatrick pregame and postgame show. How do you feel about that?
I always loved some Fitzmagic in my life. The dude's a legend. He came to the Bills whomping of the Patriots in last year's wild card game, shirtless, with his beard and all, just embracing Bills Mafia, amped up out of his fucking mind.
There was a lot of buzz that Fitzpatrick should come to Buffalo and back up Allen, but he refused. He said, Allen is my favorite quarterback in the league. With me follows a curse where I didn't want him to get hurt and me have to start. As much as I love the Bills, I don't want to do that to my guy. So he's going to do an interview with him, and they're going to talk about where he came from, how it's gone so far. They're going to do a special on his handshakes with each player on the team. Allen is a unique character, and he certainly is our franchise quarterback.
Allen is much like LeBron in the fact that he has so many handshakes that people are like, how do you remember all those handshakes?
I mean, the dude is brilliant. I mean, his Wonderlic score was through the roof for good reason. I mean,
well,
that guy...
he didn't go to Harvard like Fitzpatrick, but...
That's true. Good point. I set that up. Based on the good old betting line, the Bills are 4-point favorites going into Foxborough, which normally the home team gets spotted 3 points, so they're saying the Bills might win by a touchdown. But the implied score, 24-20 Bills, that's pretty close to what I'd guess, because New England has a very strong defense, and their offense is kind of shaky. What's your prediction, Greg?
My prediction is 27-23 Bills.
Mine is very close to that. I predict 27-17. I have it written down, so we both made these predictions without talking to each other and wrote them down. The over-under is 43.5. The line did start at 4.5 points, so it's shifted a little bit. Still, the Bills are predicted to win. They've won 3 of the last 4 games against New England, including by 12 and 29 in Foxborough. And Buffalo has never won 3 straight road games by 10-plus points in New England.
The outlier of the one that the Bills lost was in...
that was in Buffalo.
Horrendous weather with hurricane-force winds that McCorkle Jones threw for 3 times, and then they just ran it. They ran it, and, I mean, kudos to them. We couldn't stop the run, but then we found out who the true team was, though, once the extreme weather got taken out of the equation. So,
with the Buffalo Bills beating the Lions last week on Thanksgiving, Ed Oliver sacked Jared Goff in the end zone for the second safety on the season for the Bills. The Bills are the only team in the league with multiple safeties, and it's the first time the Bills have done that in a single season since 2007.
Look at that. That was my high school graduation year.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Yep.
Speaking of Ed Oliver, that dude's playing like a man that wants to get a big contract.
If it weren't for him, I'm not sure we win last week, because not only did he get the safety, but, I mean, the tackles were crucial. He was everywhere. Who came in because he's been rotating for a while with Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa, who should be back this week. I believe they've been practicing. The team's gone through an illness, but it's made its way through the locker room, and 8 guys came back from that. We signed Smoke.
Brown.
John Brown.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
He'll start on the practice squad, but depending on how his conditioning is, we may see him in a game. What does that show from the Bills? I feel like not only is Kumaro injured, but they were relying on him for depth when he's really a special teamer. He's an ace on special teams, and he's really just depth. And behind Diggs, Davis, and McKenzie, there really isn't much. Khalil Shakir hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity, but the Bills know better than us that maybe he's not taken to the playbook as well. I think he's got great hands, but maybe he's just not quite ready. So bringing back somebody who they had in 2019 and 2020. He had 1,000-plus yards his first year with the Bills.
Yeah.
And then he got banged up in 2020. He ended up on 3 different practice squads last year, and maybe this is saying that Brandon Beane should have gone for a trade before the deadline, or maybe they were relying on Odell Beckham Jr., who may or may not sign with Dallas or New York Giants, where he started. He may sign with the Bills. We don't know yet, but we don't need to spend too much time because we've done it.
He could be an insurance policy in case they don't land OBJ.
Yeah.
And he's also a Patriot killer. He's had some big games against the Patriots. So if he does get called up, there's that history there, and maybe he's healthy and got enough left in the tank to make a difference.
You know who will make a difference? Josh Allen, who is 4-0 on Thursday nights, including, well, I guess 3 Thanksgivings, right?
Yep.
He is completing 73.6% of his passes on Thursdays, and he has the highest completion percentage in the Super Bowl era for one day out of the year. I mean, most of the games are on Sunday, we know that, but there's still Monday, there's the occasional Saturday, but Thursday is dominated by Josh Allen. Let's hope that continues.
The man likes himself some thirsty Thursdays.
Yeah, and Diggs only needs 130 yards to become the 3rd wide receiver in Super Bowl era with at least 4,000 yards in the first 45 games for a team. Now, the only other 2 guys to do that, Justin Jefferson.
Oh, Justin Jefferson.
And Odell Beckham.
Oh, dang. I said I was going to say Randy Moss, but no.
No, I mean, Moss.
No, I was thinking him with the Patriots, but...
No, he didn't have 4 seasons there.
Oh, that's right.
And that was, 07 was the big year. So they're not even talking about Diggs with the Vikings. They're talking about with the same team.
Yes.
In their first 45 games for a single team, he could have 4,000 yards. Jefferson and Odell Beckham did it in 42 games, where with Diggs, if he gets 130 yards, it'll be in 45 games. But still, he'll
huge accomplishment.
Possibly be only the 3rd player to ever do that. You know this is going to be a tough game. The defense for the Patriots, like I said, I can't reiterate enough how good they are. But their offense, I mean, if you're comparing a Josh Allen-led offense versus a Mac Jones offense, I know he played well last week. They could have won. They were leading the Vikings, and then they ended up losing. McCorkle, I don't see him beating the Bills, but he did it once last year. That is what I would call a fluke.
The hidden storyline leading up to this game is not on the field, but up in the booth or on the sideline. It's Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator.
He's in the booth, but I believe Matt Patricia.
Going against Matt Patricia. So they're both new offensive coordinators. One more extreme than the other. Matt Patricia becoming an offensive coordinator after being a defensive coordinator for his entire career.
And a head coach for the Lions briefly.
Yes, very much one of those oddball decisions where it's like, is Bill Belichick a genius? Like, maybe he is. Is he trying too hard in this situation where he's like, I can just like do something that no one else would think would work? I will say, last week's game against the Vikings, when I watched it, granted it was after a big old meal and a few beers in me, but I will say,
dump.
But I will say, there was a dump to follow. I will say it seems like maybe after some criticism and definitely some question marks surrounding him from the fans of the Patriots, it looks like maybe he's starting to come into his own. The Patriots looked more than capable of maintaining drives.
Well, they've got a good run game. I mean, I like their running backs. I mean, between Stevenson and Harris, right? I mean, I feel like they're good. And then they've got a decent line. It's more about if the defense can keep them in games, the offense maybe will only need 20, 24 points to win.
It seemed like the game against the Vikings on Thanksgiving night definitely looked like the play calls were fluid. They seemed to be working. Mac Jones seemed to be liking the calls played. He got into a rhythm. So I'm hoping it was an anomaly, but it seemed like maybe Matt Patricia might have turned a corner there. I hope not. But he seemed to be more comfortable calling plays where it seemed to be a little bit more up and down and uncomfortable before that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's very unconventional to coach a defense that long and then jump right into a coordinator. So but he's put it in his time, unlike Jeff Saturday, right? And maybe Matt Patricia isn't a former NFL stud, a future Hall of Famer or anything like that. But if you can read a defense and you know how to get your players out there on defense, maybe you can have that offensive mind. You know, if you're a coach and you can see that sort of stuff, I mean, I think he's pretty brilliant on defense. That's why he got a head coaching position. Some people are better coordinators, like a Rex Ryan. He was a much better coordinator on defense than he ever was a head coach.
Yeah.
And I think Patricia came to Detroit with this bravado that he was just going to lead them just like Rex Ryan did for the Bills. and it was just a bunch of false promises. But if he knows how a defense goes, because the defense has to be set up based on an offensive formation. So if he knows how the Bills' defense of tendencies are, then he can make play calls for Mac Jones that might be advantageous against a strong defense like the Bills. And I know they're banged up. We're without Von Miller, but we should have A.J. Epinesa back and Greg Rousseau, so that's nice.
That's huge.
We should have Trey White with more than 15 snaps this game, maybe double that.
We're going to have Tremaine Edmonds back.
Edmonds will be back. Milano's obviously doing well. Ed Oliver's doing well. I just feel like if Dane Jackson can actually not just be in position, but be less soft in coverage, tip a ball or knock it down. Finish is a good way to put it. Christian Benford's out, so our depth is being tested. I just feel like we're close to full strength. We're not quite there. It's the whack-a-mole effect where when Trey White comes in, Von Miller goes out. Now, Von Miller, you did say in his podcast or through...
it's through his podcast.
Through his podcast,
he said it wasn't a tear. He said that it was damage to his lateral meniscus. He didn't say tear.
Okay.
He said it suffered some damage to his meniscus. He said that his goal is to be back for the game against the Jets in Buffalo. And
that's his goal as a player, not the doctor. But he did say 7 to 10 days. He'd let the swelling go down, and they can reevaluate to make sure that, because usually you can see better. You can have a better outlook on where it's going to go because he's not going to have a surgery during the regular season.
They send a scope in there, right?
Yeah, I feel like maybe they could do it that way. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
I just play one on TV.
Well, yeah, no, they scope it out, I guess, for the actual surgery. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get down to the numbers here. Points scored. We know the Bills have an explosive offense. They are ranked second in the league, averaging over 28 points a game. New England is averaging 21.7 points a game, which is good enough for 18th. So it's pretty mediocre. And then yards per game, Bills second again, 427 yards per game.
It's impressive.
Yeah. And New England is averaging 344 yards, which is 23rd. That's not the greatest when it comes to passing and rushing and third down. The Bills are once again much better. Bills are fourth in passing yards at an average of 290. Rushing, they have 137 yards per game, and that's good enough for eighth. So they're in the top 10 in both.
Thanks.
And then
in part to Allen.
For sure. He's our leading rusher by 9 yards
over
Singletary.
But it should be also Motor if they would give him more than 14 carries.
Hey, at least he got more than 10 this week.
Yeah, he got
5.1 yards per carry.
He's capped out at 14. You can't give him more than 20. That's illegal.
Now, the Bills on third down have been one of the best. They are second in the league at almost 51%. New England is 37%, so that's 25th best. If we have anything going in our favor, it's that we have an even stronger defense than the Patriots, and I feel like we convert more on third down. Keeping drives alive. If we can do 3 and out for them, or maybe turn the ball over, force Mac Jones to fumble or throw a pick.
Circle those wagons. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, God, I love that man.
Chris Berman.
Whoop! Whoop! Now, let's get on to the defensive numbers. Points allowed. Buffalo 5th and New England 6th. I mean, they are back and forth.
They're
right there.
They've got a legit defense.
They really do. And interceptions, Buffalo has 13 interceptions. New England has 12. So Buffalo's in second. New England's in fourth. It's a hell of a matchup. I feel like we obviously on paper and visually, you can see much better quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. And I think that makes a difference.
What does Allen have to do?
Win. not throw picks.
Not turn the ball over.
Not throw it to the other jerseys. Speaking of which, New England is using their throwback jerseys, which I think are they're pretty sweet. And then the Bills are going to have their white. I want to say they're the retro jerseys, or at least the away jerseys.
Yeah,
they're
the white jerseys. They're going to do the white.
You were hoping
white.
for the Reds.
I was wanting the standing Buffaloes, the '60s Buffalo,
but we're getting the white helmets, which are clean with the white face mask. I like the blue, but this is really my favorite. This reminds me of the Super Bowl era. The Super Bowl era. We're in the Super Bowl era. Right now, the Buffalo Bills...
The 90s Super Bowl era.
Yeah, the Bills are second best odds to win the Super Bowl behind Kansas City, so they obviously got to make it out of the AFC first.
But yeah, it sounds like we're not going to have the standing Buffalo, and as much as I hate to say it because I don't like to enjoy anything that has to do with the New England Patriots, their throwback jerseys are classy.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're better than their current uniforms that they wear, to be honest. So
we'll see if the Bills can keep Judon away from Josh Allen, because that's the biggest thing. That man is leading the league in sacks, and he's on a tear. And without Deion Dawkins this week so far, he's banged up. He left last week's game with a leg injury, I believe. Let's hope our depth is there. Ike Butker apparently is working his way back from an injury from last year. But if we needed, to shift the offensive line around a little bit, that's fine. It just sucks that our 5 starters can't be there every game. And then on defense, our defensive ends aren't there every game. And our safeties haven't been together since week 3 or 4.
I mean, I don't think any Bills fan or player or member of this coaching staff could have foreseen what was going to take place as far as injuries go through this season so far. It's been a bit of a nightmare. They've managed it well, but it's I don't think anyone could see what we've gone through happening.
No, but I say it every week. We get Trey White back. There goes Von Miller. And then we have an illness that goes through the locker room. And no matter what it is, 100% injury rate in the NFL. There's whack-a-mole all the time. I don't think you'll ever have the same players that finish the season on the roster.
We get Poyer back, we lose Christian Benford.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, it happens all the time. That's why your depth is tested, and that's why people are like, oh, the Bills are the Super Bowl favorites. Not just because they got Von Miller.
Back, we lose Tremaine Edmonds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, we could keep going on that, but I'd rather not get depressed, okay? I don't want to turn this Dr. Pepper into a Labatt Blue right now, okay?
I mean, I would.
I would. But then again, we do have some Fireball.
Jesus Christ, turn into Dr. Pepper into Labatt Blue.
Woo! So the Buffalo Bills go into Foxborough, have a chance as the only game on television for football. I mean, I know we've got the World Cup going on right now, but Thursday night.
Shout out to USA.
But if you watch this game, it'll be on Amazon Prime Video. Like we said before, Fitzpatrick will be there doing the pregame and postgame talk. So it'll be cool to see him. The game starts at 5:15 West Coast, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what else to say about this game. I mean, they're a division rival. We see them twice a year. We've had a lot of success against them recently. Last year's playoff game was the last time we saw them, and we walloped them. And I'm hoping we have another perfect game.
You know what was awesome about Thanksgiving, Scott?
Turkey, stuffing, gravy, mashed potatoes.
All right, despite
a victory.
Yes, no, yeah, the food is always delicious, and the friends and family are awesome.
What?
But the best part about Thanksgiving on this past Thursday was my 2 favorite teams won: the Buffalo Bills and whoever's playing the goddamn New England Patriots. Skol, baby, skol! Bills, Vikings, both won. I was a happy man.
There is a lovely lady that we know at the Bills Backers Bar named Stacy. She is from Buffalo, I believe, and she's a diehard Bills fan. She and her husband come in and watch the game every week at Cheerful Bullpen. And their son, who went to Wyoming, sometimes wear a Wyoming jersey at the bar. Well, before we knew much about Stacy and her husband and her son, he was sitting down 3 years ago or 2 years ago wearing a Brady jersey. This guy here had a little too much maple syrup and started talking some over the guy's shoulder, and he's like, Brady, how do you have the balls to come into this blah, 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 Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that? Because it was when Brady still played for New England, so it must have been 3 years ago.
4 years.
4 years? Yeah, it could have been 4 years.
Ago.
It ended with handshakes and beer paid for by the guy's dad because we were fine. It became amicable. Now we have a good friendship with them. We found out that this guy is a big Josh Allen fan, is a fan of the Buffalo Bills, but he happens to be a Tom Brady fan, and he wore the jersey in the bar.
Moral of the story is don't let your fanhood make you turn into an asshole.
Yeah. He's still a human
asshole.
being.
Going into this season, about 90% of NFL talking heads couldn't shut up, and I bought into the hype, and a lot of people did, about the AFC West. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got a Russell Wilson getting traded to the Broncos that had all the pieces set to make a championship run. You got Derek Carr, and he gets
Adams.
He gets Devontae Adams and a potentially resurging Raiders team. You got Justin Herbert coming off of back-to-back just unbelievable seasons. And then guess what? We are now going into week 13?
Yep.
14. 13. Going into week 13 now, and it is not the AFC West that is that team that everyone was talking about before the season.
East.
It's actually the AFC East and the NFC East.
Yep.
It's the AFC and NFC beast.
That's true.
On paper, it looks like You've got the Chiefs that are going to most likely just glide into a division win. And now, instead of the Chiefs having to claw their way through a win and beat each other up in that division, no, it's the Bills now that are going to have to do that. So, my God, how the turns have tabled.
The turns have tabled. When you're talking about these matchups, though, I can't stop thinking about how the Patriots have a 6-5 record, but 2 of their victories are against the Jets. But it's against Zach Wilson, who's since been benched.
Must be nice to get a victory against the Jets.
They also have a victory against the Colts with Sam Ehlinger. And he's also been benched in favor of veteran Matt Ryan, who's been in the league for 14 years.
And somehow the Colts beat the Chiefs. The low-hanging fruit this whole week with the media talking heads of the various outlets of sports media is, do we need to be concerned about the Bills? Do we need to be concerned about Josh Allen? How healthy is Josh Allen? Can the Bills overcome losing Von Miller, whether it be for 2 weeks or the entire season? All of those are fine, but I think it's a lot of wasted breath. The fact of the matter is I'm not worried. I will be. It's this simple. I'll be worried if we do lose this game on Thursday night.
Oh, yeah. If we start 0-3 in our own division, there's no way we're getting the number 1 seed, maybe not even the number 2 seed.
You're not a Super Bowl contender. You're not a team that says that they're vying to win their third conference or their third division title in a row. You can't do that starting 0-3. You just can't. And so I don't care what it takes. I don't care how many injuries we have. Josh Allen needs to be mistake-free. We need to have a great game plan, and Dorsey needs to come into his own against a Hall of Fame coach in Bill Belichick. We have to win this game.
Here's a little fun fact, though. The Super Bowl era with the Buffalo Bills in the early 90s, right? From 90, 91, 92, 93, which was played in 91, 92, 93, 94, the Bills did not win the division all 4 years. The Dolphins won the division, and the Bills beat them in the wild card. So there's still a chance, but why? Why, when you lose home field advantage, and really our home field advantage is playing in brutal cold weather in January, February, that would be amazing.
I mean, well, some fans disagree, but I agree that, yes, it would be. Yeah.
It would be nice.
Some fans are still riding the
dome.
The storyline of that we shouldn't have to play in the cold weather in January and we should go somewhere else. But
look, Buffalo's never getting to host a Super Bowl because they don't have enough hotels to host 70,000 people coming into town, because when it's a Super Bowl and good chance the Bills aren't hosting that. I mean, let's say they do, because this stadium won't be built until 2026. That means we have to be relevant in 4 or 5 years and hope that Allen is still healthy and playing for the Bills and we're still contenders. But not only that, you've got people from all around the world that come to this game. And it just, as a city, can't house that right now. So unless Terry Pagula is going to dump $500 million into new hotels, it ain't happening.
No, it's not. No, it's never going to happen. And I think that deep down inside, most old school Bills fans, the OGs, they don't want a dome, and I agree with that. I think the stadium plan, it's got the best of both worlds. You get about 60-70% of coverage of from the elements. The game gets played
for
outside,
the fans, not for the players.
For the fans,
yeah.
The game gets played outside. That it's all we've known as Bills fans and as Bills players. I mean, ultimately, we are a blue-collar city. We should play outside. Yes, dome games are nice, and Allen statistically has his best games in domes. But the fact of the matter is that any fan that thinks that they want to see us play an away game away from Bills Mafia 70,000 strong is crazy.
Now, we do travel.
We travel.
Look at what we did in Detroit, but
yes,
still,
but it's never going to substitute for having Bills Mafia tailgating in Orchard Park and representing the 716 and bringing it. Josh Allen last year playing in the 0-degree weather and smoking the Patriots. Even the game in the regular season where there was wind whipping like crazy, like hurricane wind, and he threw it way more than Mac Jones did.
He could cut it through.
And he could. He showed that he could still play in some of the worst weather. Now, granted, there wasn't much snow there. It was just wind, but it was cold. So I'm over the whole thinking about why don't the Bills build a dome thing. Put it to rest.
So you know how Josh Allen is from California, right? And you immediately will go to like, oh, the California boys that are surfers in the sand. Allen is from Northern California, not far from Fresno.
And it's different.
It's flat. They had over 3,000 acres for cantaloupe, which they're switching to.
Well, it's cotton too.
Yes, but they're switching. They're switching to
almonds.
Pistachio. No, what the heck is it?
It might be.
It's a nut of some sort.
Yeah.
And they're going to be one of the largest suppliers in North America. But that is much different. He said he's never even surfed. So he's not that way at all. And then he goes to Wyoming, which is cold. You play through the cold. They see the big arm.
And that's the kicker. He's used to it. Yeah, you get through winters in Wyoming. Laramie, Wyoming is no fucking joke in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I went to South Dakota State University, and that coldest I remember was negative 36 degrees, where my parents were visiting and they had to plug their Suburban in at the hotel just so it would start the next day.
Yeah.
And Laramie, Wyoming gets even worse weather than that. I mean, it is brutal.
I mean, he's proven that he can do it. And
so,
usually
there's
the
no problem there.
The dome for the weather. I mean, I remember the Colts game 3 years ago where they're shoveling for Vinatieri to try to get him to kick the field goal, which was ultimately missed, and the Bills won.
And I get that. The only part of the argument that I can understand is situations like that where you're having to shovel snow to try to kick a field goal.
It might have been 4 or 5 years ago.
I get that part of it where you never, just like when the whole snowstorm came before the Bills Browns game, I called
77 inches.
It's
getting moved to Detroit. You knew it.
Moved to Detroit.
You knew it.
Now again, and then that brings up the argument for everyone that's pro dome, and I understand. Yeah, you don't want to see a game get dictated by the weather like that, but it's just there's something to be said about having a game in January at the Ralph in Orchard Park. It's nostalgic.
Yep.
It brings back the days of yesteryear.
I remember every year since I could walk going to a Bills game. And I remember, playing the Jets and 3 Jets going over the stadium and it shaking the entire stadium. And me just looking at my dad like, wow, that was Disney for me. I mean, I kept all the game day books. I still have them today. I've gone to the Steelers game, the Dolphins game, the Jets game. Obviously, as an adult, I've gone to a lot of games too. But that to me was like Christmas. That was at least once a year. So I'm one of 5 boys. We got 8 home games, right? And 2 preseason home games back then. So 10 games. We each could go to 2, but my mom went to several games, if not half of them. So I only really went to 1 game a year, and I coveted that. I loved it. We'd park and walk from California up to Abbott or whatever the heck it is, and we tailgated. We'd go to the Hammerlot occasionally. I mean, just being with my dad and having the peanuts and I actually had a foam ball, threw it down to the first section from Bill's 50-yard line, second section up, and I didn't say anything to anyone. Yes, it was a Nerf ball.
Nice.
Yeah, so no dildos. So.
It's Nerf or nothing.
They're not playing in Buffalo, but do you think anyone's going to try to sneak in a dildo and throw it on the field, or is that only when they play in Buffalo?
I think someone's going to sneak in a sweet potato.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about the whole.
Remember the sweet potato thing?
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
they wanted to try a different
I don't think
trend.
there'll be any dildos on the field. But yeah, dude, that's awesome to see, and that's memories. That's core. You want to talk about core memories, like you with your family and your dad.
That is why I am the way I am.
If you don't get goosebumps listening to the national anthem and having some Jets roll over your stadium with 70,000 of your fellow fans, then you got to check your.
Back then, there was actually more
pulse.
Fans. There was more fans because they turned a lot of that into club seating. Yeah, they have more club seats now, so they went for the money versus the quantity. And because I think then it was we had a max of 75, close to 80,000. And of course, that comeback game against the Oilers, there's about 1 million people that said they were at that game.
Yeah,
it was blacked out in Buffalo,
people
but my dad had a
the
scrambler.
fence.
He sold satellite dishes, but he had one of those illegal scramblers where we could watch the game. So we had my Uncle Dale come over and his side of the family. That man wears his heart on his sleeve, and he was pissed off. And by halftime, he quit watching.
As I'm sure many people thought it was over.
Yeah, yep. Final words on the Bills versus the Patriots, first matchup.
For me, being a Bills fan that didn't grow up in Buffalo, the passion that I have and the... I don't want to call it hatred, but it's definitely a special type of resentment that I have for
20 years we got beat down by Tom Brady.
Patriots.
And Belichick's still there.
Yeah, it's every time we play them, it is personal, and I hate losing to this team because I've seen it way too much, and so, I mean, it just, you revel in the moments like last year's wild card where I jumped through a table in excitement because it was literally, like I said, like 25 years of pent up fucking frustration, and we finally took it to this team.
Mind you, it was without Brady, but it was a win nonetheless.
You know, and even though it was without Brady, the emotion and the pain of all those years of getting our asses kicked by this team and Belichick, it doesn't go away, and it never will go away. And every time we play them, it's got a special bit of flavor to it. It's extra spicy. So, yeah, I'm excited. The Bills need this big time. I hope that we can avoid a letdown and get this win.
Well, the implied score of 24-20 may or may not hold up, but the over has hit 5 of the last 6 times, so 43.5. Let's say we score 44 and they score nothing. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Change my prediction, 44-0.
No, you didn't. And then also, real quick, just to cap this off for all you Patriots fans, I don't know if you know this, but you can go and YouTube it. Ryan Fitzpatrick's least favorite quarterback is the one and only, the GOAT, Tom Brady. You want to know why? What are the
he wasn't grateful, right?
What do the Patriots fans call themselves? The Chowder Crowders?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that. You read the comments on these. You go to a website, whether it's Yahoo or Reddit or ESPN. This dude is scrolling through the comments looking for gold, and he'll send me screenshots of really good ones. But that's his newspaper, man.
All I got to say is that the reason that Fitzpatrick's least favorite quarterback is Tom Brady is because when he beat Tom Brady didn't give him the time of day.
Wouldn't shake his hand, right?
Yeah, wouldn't shake his hand, just left. And Fitzpatrick's like, well, that's a sign of disrespect. Like,
I think Brady's gotten better about that, but it took over 20 years.
You're able to handle it when the times are good, but when you get beat by someone that you view inferior to you, you don't have the respect to shake the man's hand. I'm tickled to know that Josh Allen is Fitzpatrick's favorite quarterback because Josh Allen is very humble. He's never
he's the epitome of Buffalo.
Yeah, he's never one to avoid handshakes at the end of the game, no matter how bad it hurts.
It's because when he was a kid, he was shunned by baseball players or anyone he looked up to, whether it was baseball, football, and he said, if I ever make it to that level, I'll never be that person. So he's a role model. He's a mentor. He's a leader. He's somebody that represents blue collar in Buffalo. Of any quarterback that's probably ever existed in the league, he's the epitome of my hometown.
Yep. So New England Patriots fans, you've got your guys' championship banners, and they're always going to be hanging there in the wind. But right now there is a different wind turning, and that wind is circling in Orchard Park, New York. And we've got the new Tom Brady in the division now, my friends, because Tom Brady's down in that fucking NFC dumpster fire right now.
And they're leading their division, so we're going to still see him in the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
You kidding me? Playoffs?
Oh, man, I knew it was going there.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys had your fun in the sun, but now it's time for us to have our fun in the sun, so.
It is, and I can't wait because the weather, it's cold in here. The weather's going to be...
I can see my breath.
I know.
I have been seeing my breath.
Well, here's the thing. When we turn the heat on, I'm not even going to tell you, in this little studio, the weather this weekend is going to be 25 to 45. That's the low and high. My guess is, because it's going to be in the evening, it's going to be 8:15 there. It's probably going to be around 30, around freezing. So let's see what the Bills can do. Hopefully he's cooking.
Hey, guess what, you Foxborough fannies? The Bills are handing out lollipops and ass whoopings on Thursday night, and I'm sorry, but they're all out of fucking lollipops.
Any more words for Bills Mafia before we call it a day?
Oh, I got something.
Oh, what do you have?
Bills Mafia, as always, don't forget to tailgate your asses off, pound some Labatt's, jump through some tables responsibly, and as always, take a few hydration breaks.
Well, I just look forward to another good week in fantasy football, and I'm hoping that my fantasy becomes a reality, and not only do the Bills win, but my team improves to 10-3. I'm 9-3 right now, and second in my league.
I'm fool's gold in that league.
Yeah, you've had a rough couple patches.
Yeah. How many trades have you done? 53?
I've done probably 16 or 17,
they're good trades. Like you have a solid team.
You get 16 picks, right? In a 12-man league, we have 16 rounds. I have 5 of those players. I had 4. Actually, I had 6. Dropped Tampa defense, picked up Baltimore. Dropped McPherson, picked up Gano. And then I had dropped Schultz in the past, and then someone dropped him a couple weeks ago, and I snagged him back. And now I've got Knox, Schultz, and Higbee. And for running backs, I've got Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley. For quarterback, I traded for Hurts, but I also have Herbert. I mean, come on. And what else do I have? Oh, I haven't even gotten into wide receivers. McLaurin, Metcalf, Mike Evans.
I can't believe you got Hurts from Chris.
You traded Hurts.
And then Chris
traded him because I gave him Kenneth Walker. I could afford him because I got 3 stud running backs already.
I know, but that is nuts. If you had Kenneth Walker too.
I grabbed him off of waivers early. No, I traded for him, cut him, grabbed him again before anyone else could get him.
Shout out to KW3, man.
So how are you doing in your other league, your SDSU?
Yes, so in my SDSU league, which is the league that I won last year for the first time in 7 years.
You have a cool trophy.
Yep, I've got an awesome trophy. I take it probably more serious than I should, but it had been 7 years since I had won it, and I was starting to be like, okay, I'm the commissioner. Like, I talk a lot of game here. I need to get my together. I went for it last year. I put my all into it. I won the championship, and there's only been 2 other people in the league. Thank you. There's only been 2 other people in the league that have won it back-to-back out of the 12-man league, and we've been doing this for over a decade. And so now I'm trying to become the 3rd person to do it, and so that's what's been keeping me motivated. I am currently tied for first place going in the final 2 weeks at 8-3. 8-4. 8-4. Projections show that I'm going to finish 2nd, so we'll see. I've got some tough competition. Greg Beasley. So there's 2 Gregs in the league, me and Greg Beasley. We're both tied for first. He's kind of got your similar roster where he's stacked at running back.
Is this the one you're trying to make a trade with right now?
No.
Oh, that's last place guy.
No, not a last place guy.
No, but last year he was last. That's why you made him change his name.
Yeah.
So the winner gets to make the last place, the toilet bowl winner, change their team name.
Champion gets to make the Sacco, who's last place, change their team name. So
and what was it from? Alexis?
Yeah, so his name's Alex, and so I made him change his name to Alexa Play Last Place.
Yeah, I think that's really good. That's really
it was something I came up with. But
good. That's good.
Yeah, no, it's wild because there's like 5 teams or 4 teams that are 6-6. So the final
that's competition.
2 weeks, oh my god,
you bring money into it, and it becomes competitive.
You've got a couple 4-win teams that have enough points to win the tiebreaker if they catch up to the 6-6 teams.
If they do, that means they have to win the next 2.
They got to win the next
15
2.
It's playoffs.
So I told the league, going into this weekend, like this is the playoffs before the playoffs.
Yeah, no joke.
Like, right now, there's 3 people. Me,
you can sneak in.
It's the 2 Gregs, and then Eddie. We've sealed our ticket to the playoffs. We all are in.
Oh, same. Mathematically, I'm in.
So 9 people out of the 12 are going to battle it out for seeding in the last 2 weeks.
Are you doing 8 teams?
It's 8 teams in my league.
It's 6 out of the 12 here, and I believe
8 out of 12.
That is. I mean, it gives the wild card feel for that, and it makes it exciting for those bottom dwellers.
But I get it.
I like sink or swim
6 is
half.
good.
What's the point of the regular season if you have most of your teams?
My league ended up voting to change it from 6 to 8 because we just felt that we wanted a couple more people to be still interested towards the end of the
rather
season.
Than cutting players or trying to whatever.
Once you feel like you're out of it, it does suck, when you feel like you're mathematically
You feel that way and you're 7-6.
I know, because I know my team's
You've moved from 3rd to 5th.
Because every week in your league, I've been seeing the points get put up, and I'm barely making over 100 this last month.
You got to score 140 to win.
And so I already know. I just know. I
scored 153.
I've made like almost 60 transactions in your league, and I didn't
You have
draft
made
well.
60.
And I just know. I just know that I'm playing Moneyball right now, trying to like outsmart people with roster movement.
You've actually made some really good roster moves. You got Pacheco before he took off. You got some other ones for depth that did well.
Yeah, but
a move you just made, he got sick of watching the Colts, so he cut Pittman, who was like your 2nd or 3rd rounder, who was owned in 98% of leagues, for Bell, who is a RB3 for the Steelers, who got a lot of touches and actually did score.
He did score, yeah.
But he
scored after I picked him up. But
you were like, instead of being pot committed the whole year and riding with someone like
I've
that,
been
just
just-
like with
I've just
Higbee
been- yeah.
or even Kyle Pitts, I drafted him, or not, I didn't draft him, I traded for him, and he got hurt, right? He didn't have to force me into that that choice to cut him. Some people, you just got to do that. Don't stick with guys when there's other people.
I've been the drunken Brad Pitt in Moneyball this year in your league. Just let's just see how it all works out. I'm gonna just drop an ad, and so anyways, we're just gonna this week we decided for the fantasy football corner we're not gonna give recommendations because quite frankly it's just tough to do, and this has been a wild year. So we decided we're just gonna talk about our leagues and where we're at.
Yeah, and I
this
feel
is
like
the fun
we're
of it.
sitting
This
pretty.
is why we play fantasy football. It's fun. It's I think a lot of people don't understand it, and some people are just like, "What the f are you doing?" Like, but there is a lot of strategy involved, and it's fun, and it's management. And if you're really into football, it is a nerdy thing, but it's a passion. It's just something that it can be very enjoyable to other people. That it boggles their mind why you even pay attention to this shit. But
It's just like gambling. It makes you more interested, and this is kind of gambling anyway because you're taking a risk.
It very
and some
much
of it's
is
luck of the
gambling,
draw.
yeah.
It's how you set up your numbers and whatnot. But if you have money in it, whether it's $20 or $100,
there are
there's
buy-in
something.
amounts and
And
trophies.
fantasy,
You play for
even
trophies.
without money though. Fantasy football, if you're competitive and you're in a league, there's pride. And when you're rooting for players on other teams, it makes you watch other games and go, holy cow, Monday night I need 16 points, and that means I need this guy to ball out, and I need my kicker to do this or do that.
The
I
only-
love it.
the
I've
only-
been doing it for 21 years,
Yeah,
22
I've
years.
been doing it for about 12. You've got about
a dozen,
dozen
or
on me.
a baker's dozen. No, 10 years.
The only diarrhea of fantasy football is if it affects your actual favorite team. Like if it
that's why I don't usually pick the Bills players, but I also don't
or
like
if
rooting
if
against
you're
them.
going against them, then it completely ruins the fantasy football experience. So.
Yeah, it's okay. It's part of it, you know. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for episode 21. The Buffalo Bills will go to Foxborough this Thursday to take on the New England Patriots. Their favorites. Hopefully they hit it because the over has hit 5 of the last 6 times, and I feel like they can score at least those 44 points between the two teams, and I'm hoping that the Bills do that themselves, and we cover, and we win, and Belichick throws the phone again.
Will it be another over? Because we finally hit the over here. In
Yeah,
the
last week was an
couple
under.
Months,
Yeah,
there was,
it's been a lot of unders.
mostly unders. Then
Yep.
we hit an over.
Yeah, mostly unders. Yep.
Yeah.
Because even when we won 38-3, I think the over was like 45, so we still hit the under, even though it was a blowout. Also, Allen didn't play the fourth quarter in that game. But
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
We got a couple cards to show.
Oh yeah. Let's do this. So I will start. This is 2021 Panini Phoenix Football. This is Enfuego. Enfuego is a sweet card. It's a die cut, so it's cut to the shape of a flame. On fire. Josh Allen, who hopefully will be on fire this weekend to heat up
hope so.
Foxborough.
Let's hope so.
And even the back of the card is really cool. I feel like that's a sweet card. It says, Allen is as cool as Freddie Mercury was when he's under pressure.
Dun 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 dun. Under pressure, pushing down on me, pushing down on you. Ba-da-da-do-ba-do. All right, I got a 2021 Panini Josh Allen Volcano. It's also a die cut, so it's a specially shaped card. It's not your regular.
Yeah, is that like a piece of
Rectangle.
obsidian or something? It's volcanic.
Yep, it is, and it is Phoenix.
It's a really cool shot. And on mine, I believe he's wearing the blue on the top, and he's wearing blue on that one as well.
Yep,
It's a
Phoenix
cool shot.
Volcano, Josh Allen, die cut. Got the awesome holographs.
I picked these two because they're similar in color and they're both die cuts. So, well, that's going to do it for the House That Allen Built episode 21. I'm Scott Kinmartin. With me, as always,
Greg Vollmer.
we'll see you next time. Let's go!
Buffalo.
I just wanted to have that. We can redo that last part if you want. What did you do? Knock it over? Fucking A.
Another die cut.
Yeah, I picked it because these are both like kind of fire, flaming. They're die cut.
Flaming.
Hello!
Yeah, no, it's a nice, awesome die cut with some awesome holographs there.
I think it's cool. I think they're both fire.
God damn it.
Fuck, dude.
All right. Okay, I got it. Okay, all right. But yeah, it's an awesome, another holographic die cut.
It's a very cool card. That's why I picked both of them. They're both die cuts. They're both with flames in it. And I feel like Josh Allen should be on fire this weekend. So, all right. Peter Piper picked a pickle penis pepper. Don't look. Just hit. Let's try it again. Oh, don't be afraid to hit my face.
I think there is a storyline, kind of a subtle, hidden storyline going into this game that won't be talked about enough, and that is the coordinator for the Bills, Ken Dorsey, going against the offensive coordinator for the Patriots in...
He's a former defensive coordinator. You're talking about the fatty from the Lions.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm not fat shaming, but he's a big guy.
My God, how the turns have tabled.
The turns have tabled. Oh my God.
So,
you know what you just said,
yeah,
right?
that was a joke. It's
Okay.
from The Office, man.
Oh my God, you always have a movie quote or a show in this case. Let's go! Buffalo!